And how does podcasting and ABM come into play? Because I feel like most people, when they think about podcasting, they think about it more as top of the funnel awareness. Hey, people are going to be listening to it. How does that mix into as an ABM tactic? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think there's still that element of top of the funnel, which I think podcasting is a great way to do that. Not only the original podcast, but breaking it up into snippets. But if we look at each stage of kind of the marketing or sales funnel, like top of the funnel, like I said, getting it out there on the respective channels, whether it's YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. And then from a mid funnel, what we found is actually this client recommended this approach to us. It's not something that I thought about. I wish I was that smart. But they said, hey, Joe, um, could we use podcasting from an ABM approach? Meaning that the great thing about podcasting is you're having a intimate conversation with someone. Can we leverage that based on our target account list? So, for example, if a media company has a target account list of top prospects they want to connect with, and they said, okay, can we use a media company as an intermediary? Because what they found is when you go directly a tech vendor to a potential client, there's always that issue of, hey, these people are trying to sell me something. Am I going to get pitched, or I'm going to go through some kind of demo that I want to go through? Is that going to happen? If so, I'm just going to ignore these guys. So that was the case with a lot of clients. How about we use it as a way to facilitate a relationship based on a specific target account list and use a media company as a way to facilitate that relationship? And so off the back of that, it's been quite interesting because some clients have leveraged that approach, finding specific prospects they were unable to connect with previously, using that podcast as a way to not sell them anything, but to find out more about the other person, find out what their passion points are, and then use that as a way to continue the conversation. So what's been interesting, if I use a specific example, is there was one client who was trying to reach, say, the head of marketing in a specific bank, really banging their head against the wall. Salesperson was like, hey, this person's ignoring my emails, they're ignoring my calls. Both parties are invited on the same podcast. And it was quite interesting because the prospect was actually asking the tech vendor, hey, can you actually, tell us more about what you do? Can we catch up after this for like coffee or another chat? So it just was great how it happened organically, whereas a lot of companies think they have to go in the traditional way of just cold emailing and pitching them. And this conversation happened organically. They were able to carry that forward and then obviously help close that enterprise deal. So it works great for enterprise deals. If I layer on top of that how you can use the podcast even more to expand that outreach, and this is something some of our clients are doing as well, is taking some of those snippets. So not the entire podcast, but taking some of those snippets like you do very well, Shaheen. 1 to 2 minute snippets, share it on your newsletter, on your LinkedIn profile, whatever it could be. And then using that as part of your outreach messaging. Because if you think about what is the best performing outreach messaging, it's always something that's super relevant. So what does relevant mean to someone? And that's where highlighting specific industry. So for example, if I'm Bank A and I'm a salesperson and I say, hey, you know what, we just did this interview with Bank A, Bank B and C, is this something you might be interested in? If so, happy to share that over to you and happy to share a little bit more in terms of what banks are doing in your specific industry or your specific market. And they're like, yeah, sure, happy to find out more. So it changes the whole conversation of how we communicate by generally sharing valuable content in the right way.